What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Lampzy back again with another video, and today we're going to be going over my team of the decade. Now, this isn't the world's best team by any means. It's just pretty much a team full of all the players that I've really enjoyed watching over the last 10 years. Now, obviously, it does go back to when I was 12, so obviously there are going to be some players in there that are going to be a little bit different, or, wondering why I have them in there. But there's also going to be players in there that would probably make your team 9 times out of 10 and that I haven't made. So let me know who you guys agree with and who you disagree with. It's just basically a team of all the players that I've really loved watching, like I said. But no, let's just jump straight into this, because I don't know how long this video can go for. But if you do like these videos, please don't forget to subscribe, and also please like the video. But let's just jump straight into it. Now, to kick off in goals, we've got Petr Cech. Now, I couldn't think of anyone else better to start the video than Petr Cech. Obviously, as a goalkeeper while I was growing up, before I stopped growing, Petr Cech and obviously Frank Lampard were my two inspirations in life, and Petr Cech is just amazing, just a top-notch guy, and obviously one of the world's best keepers for a very, very, very long time. Obviously played for Chelsea for 11 years, which is absolutely crazy, and was a huge part to that Chelsea spine, winning the Champions League, winning the Europa League, winning multiple Premier League titles. But obviously the main ones that come to mind over the last 10 years is definitely the Champions League. Like, without Petr Cech, saving that penalty in Munich was unreal. Like, he just knew, guys, that was just in extra time, and obviously the penalty shootout, diving the right way each time. Apparently he studied for like hours and hours and hours on end for that penalty shootout. So Petr Cech is just absolutely insane, and I know a lot of people would probably have Petr Cech in there, but some probably people wouldn't. But Petr Cech is definitely one of the world's best keepers to ever play the game, 110%. Now, the left back role was actually a little bit difficult for me. I've gone with Ashley Cole, but originally I didn't go with Ashley Cole. I went with Marcelo, and honestly I completely forgot about Ashley Cole. I don't know why, but Marcelo and Ashley Cole are just absolutely legends. But I've gone with Ashley Cole because I just grew up watching him as well, and Ashley Cole is clearly the best English left back ever, and probably one of the top 3 or top 4 best left backs to ever play in the Premier League as well. Obviously played for Arsenal before he came to Chelsea, and probably stomped on his mark a little bit there. But Ashley Cole is just phenomenal, and honestly he's another great bloke. And that's the thing with me, if you're a really good bloke and a really good player on the pitch, it just goes really well with me. I just hate bad off-field antics and all that sort of stuff. It just turns me off, and it just makes me think you're just ungrateful and all that sort of stuff. But obviously we've all got our own problems. We all like to go about situations differently. But Ashley Cole, an absolute gem. He was just a star in the Chelsea team once again. Like that team back in 2010, 2015, oh my God, was unreal. But Ashley Cole at the left back role. At right back, I've got Philipp Lahm. Now, probably one of the most decorated, defenders of all time. He was just absolutely superb. He's definitely revolutionised the right back role to this day, and has probably really helped the right wing back spot, really come into play a lot. Because imagine him in a right wing back spot, for like Antonio Conte, he would be absolutely insane. Just makes me think that Kimmich is pretty much a reincarnation of Lahm. Is just unreal. I think, Kimmich would have probably learnt a lot off Philipp Lahm. But honestly, Philipp Lahm, he could do pretty much anything. Like, he can defend, he had a little bit of pace. Obviously, he wasn't the quickest, but his positioning was always perfect. His defending was always amazing. Slide challenges, passing, he could even shoot. The boy was absolutely unreal. For not the tallest players, but I know, left and right backs have never been really that tall, but Philipp Lahm is just an amazing player, and just so decorated, and just the way he went about his football was unreal. So that's why I've got Philipp Lahm. Now, moving over to the first centre back we've got is Virgil van Dijk. Now, it's probably one of the first controversial ones of this video, only due to the fact that he's only been a good player for the last 3 to 4 years now. In all seriousness though, the last 2 years have been nothing short of amazing, and Van Dijk I hope he's going to win the Ballon d'Or this year, and he really, really does deserve it. But honestly, just the fact of what he has done to the centre-back role, and I just really do enjoy watching Van Dijk every time he steps onto the pitch. He's just such an amazing player, and when you say that you look forward to watching Virgil van Dijk play is unreal, because you're watching him to do tackles, which isn't always the case. Like, you watch a lot of players to hopefully score goals or make passes, but you watch Van Dijk to make some amazing challenges, and you know, his leadership is just unreal. And honestly, I couldn't not put Virgil van Dijk in this team because I've just enjoyed watching him play over the last 2 years. So I've put him in there, and I'm sure a lot of people probably would as well. But honestly, the last 2 years have been nothing short of amazing. So Virgil van Dijk, the first centre-back, and the second one is none other than John Terry. Now, honestly, a top 3 centre-back of all time in the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt. Definitely revolutionised the role when he first started to make his mark on the Premier League. And honestly, the 2 centre-backs in that team right now is just amazing. I would have loved to have seen them both play in the same team. It would pretty much be just impossible to get past. But John Terry, his leadership is just absolutely insane. Obviously, he did a lot of, well, not a lot, but he did a few things off the pitch where he shouldn't have done. He probably still gets a lot of hate for it these days, but this was before this decade anyway. But honestly, without John Terry, Chelsea would never be Chelsea, you know, what they are today. And honestly, it really did suck that he missed the Champions League final, because he did, I don't even say need Alexis Sanchez, but honestly, he got the red card, and it is what it is. But honestly, we would never have got to that stage if it wasn't for his leadership. And honestly, where he didn't play in the Champions League final, his presence was still there. And obviously, we went on to win multiple, you know, titles in the Premier League with him, and obviously winning the Europa League the following season. So honestly, John Terry is just a mastermind, and is just, there'd be so much you could learn off him if you are, you know, a defender. So John Terry is 100% the captain of this squad. Now, moving over to the first midfielder of this team. Now, guys, I forgot to say, I'm playing a 4-4-2 with this team, so thought I'd let you know. So the first midfielder I've got is Yaya Toure. Now, honestly, what an absolute beast of a midfielder. He had everything to his game, and he was a joy to watch on the field. And I was actually very lucky enough to watch him play when he came to Australia for a pre-season friendly against Real Madrid, I believe. And oh my God, he was an absolute beast. I remember when he took on pretty much everyone, like legit everyone, and he rocketed the bar, and everyone was like, oh my God, he just didn't just do that. Like, you would have thought he would have finished it, but he smashed the bar. And oh, that was just one of the most things that I'll never forget in my life. But Yaya Toure, man, like, he is just, he's the perfect midfielder. Like, so strong, can pass, can shoot, can take free kicks, can take pens. Just an absolute beast. Obviously, leadership material as well. And honestly, Man City would have never have been as great without Yaya Toure. So Yaya Toure had to definitely be in this team. And the other midfielder that had to be in this team was none other than Frank Lampard. Now, honestly, it was towards the more end of his career, but he was still there for the Champions League, was still there for a Premier League, he was still there for a Europa League. And honestly, I still followed him when he went to Man City for a year, and obviously when he went over to New York as well. But honestly, I could never, ever, ever not watch Frank Lampard, whether he was in blue or not. And honestly, he is just everything to me. And like I've probably said it a million times, he is definitely one of the world's best midfielders of all time. Like, definitely in the Premier League. And honestly, he did finish third in the Ballon d'Or one year as well, so that definitely does show a lot. But like, the leadership, you know, qualities that he showed with John Terry was absolutely insane. And he pretty much revolutionised the box-to-box midfielder. And you know, the reason why we all look at a midfielder to score goals now, and you know, we're heavily reliant on midfielders to score goals, and that was none other than Frank Lampard's fault, because he would just bang in 20 goals a season. Like, strikers struggle to score that these days, and Frank made it look easy. So if you don't enjoy Frank Lampard's, you know, business, I just really don't understand why you don't. But Frank Lampard, an absolute legend of the sport. Now, moving over to the left side, I've got Cristiano Ronaldo. How can you not have a team of the decade without having Cristiano Ronaldo in your team? And honestly, I don't need to say much about Ronaldo. He's my GOAT, 100%. I still think he's better than Messi, but honestly, we're living in a world where we've got Ronaldo and Messi, you know, in the same era. And honestly, they played against each other for years and years and years. And Messi said himself that he misses him, you know, in the La Liga, because it brings just so much more hype to, you know, the El Clasico. But honestly, Ronaldo, just a proven goal scorer. His attributes just go on forever. His heading ability, his pace, his dribbling, his skills. Like, oh God, like, what can't you say about this guy? Like, such a real nice guy off the pitch as well, by the looks of it. And honestly, just an absolute legend. And I really hope that he wins at least another Ballon d'Or before the end of his career. But honestly, we are coming into an era where a lot of young players are really starting to give Ronaldo and Messi a run for their money. But speaking of Messi, we'll move on to him now. Now he's obviously the definition of God-given talent, and his dribbling is what is always spoken about. It's just pretty much glued to his foot, and I still don't understand how he can just kick the ball so close to his feet. And honestly, his left-footed curl is just so beautiful, and he just does so much for that Barcelona team. Like, Barcelona are nothing without him, and honestly, it goes for show as well with Argentina as well. But the only thing is that obviously the international accolades between Ronaldo and Messi separate it for me. But honestly, Messi, Ronaldo will always talk about how amazing they were, and we've always just got to be so grateful that we got to watch these two players play together. So Ronaldo, Messi, you guys are absolutely fucking legends of the sport. Now moving over to my first striker. Sorry, it's another Chelsea player, but it's Didier Drogba, and everyone loves Didier. Honestly, he was the one that really helped Chelsea out to win the Champions League title, and that header was absolutely beautiful, and the pen to send it away was just as good. But honestly, Didier Drogba, he's a lot of people's favourite strikers, and honestly, why wouldn't you have him? He's got an absolute rocket of a shot. He's so strengthy. He had pace earlier on in his day, but honestly, he's just an absolute brute animal. And boy, oh boy, he was just such a joy to watch. Oh God, it just gives me goosebumps just talking about him, honestly. And he was just a huge asset to me growing up as well. He was just such an idol for me. And yeah, Drogba just banging in goals all the time. Like, they weren't just tap-ins or anything. They were like full proven goals where he beat players off the line and, shrug them off or just belt them in. But the other striker I've got is Robin van Persie. It's probably going to be a surprise to some people, but Robin van Persie was easily a favourite of mine, and that left peg of his was just so beautiful. I loved him at Arsenal, but honestly, I loved him more at Manchester United. I have no idea why, because the earlier stages of this decade, I wasn't a fan of Manchester United whatsoever, but over the last 4 to 5 years, I've grown to like Manchester United a lot more. A lot of people probably say because they weren't winning trophies, but honestly, I didn't really like the personnel of the old Manchester United. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe because I was just younger and I was just so delusional or something. But honestly, Robin van Persie is just an absolute amazing player, and what he did for that Dutch national team, we'll always remember him for scoring that beautiful diving header. And honestly, like what I said, his left peg was just so beautiful, and the way that he went about it, he was just so slick with the ball as well. Had some really nice skill moves to his game, and Robin van Persie was just an absolute amazing striker to watch. Just one of the world's best on his day. But moving over to our substitutions now, this could go on forever, and it was really, really hard for me to pick substitutions because I missed out a lot of players on the bench. Like, I could have had Branislav Ivanovic as well, could have had Marcelo, but I've just decided to just stay with the original substitutions bench that I had. But starting off, I got Manuel Neuer and Sergio Ramos. Now, Manuel Neuer, I think, revolutionised the goalkeeper spot, the sweeper keeper role more so. Did a lot of real dumb shit, but sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. But obviously, you got to make risks to do that. Manuel Neuer, man, on his day, he would make some amazing saves, and honestly, he still is a world's best keeper now, but I think it's beyond him now. But honestly, you can't go without talking about Neuer being amazing, and Sergio Ramos is just one of the world's best centre-backs of all time, and honestly, his aggression really makes way for everything, and honestly, just absolutely amazing. You just think of red cards with him. But moving over as well, I've got Rio Ferdinand in there with N'Golo Kante. Obviously, towards the end of Rio Ferdinand's career, but I really learnt a lot about his game and more about, defending wise with Ferdinand. And obviously, now that I've seen him off the pitch, becoming into a pundit, I've really enjoyed him a lot more now as well. But honestly, it just made me respect Ferdinand a lot more, and enjoyed what he did to that Manchester United team. N'Golo Kante, I don't need to obviously say much. He's just an out-and-out amazing central defensive midfielder or centre mid, wherever you want to play him. Just works all day and just doesn't leave anything out on the pitch. Just goes full tit all the time, and honestly, that's probably the reason why he's getting a few injuries at the moment. But N'Golo Kante is just amazing for France and Chelsea, and both those teams would struggle without him. Got Andreas Iniesta, probably one of the silkiest midfielders of all time as well. Barcelona heavily reliant on him and Messi over the course of pretty much their careers at Barcelona. Eden Hazard, I could have had him on the starter, but I thought, nah, better not, because that'd be way too many Chelsea players. But honestly, he has been my idol over the last at least 5 years, pretty much ever since Frank Lampard hung up the boots. But watching Eden Hazard play every week for pretty much ever since he joined Chelsea was absolutely amazing, and I just really wished he stayed at Chelsea, and but it obviously didn't, and I thought maybe he could win a Ballon d'Or at Real Madrid, but obviously it is having a bit of a shaky season at the moment, but obviously hopefully he'll find his feet sometime soon. And the last two players on the bench that I've got here is Luis Suarez and Sergio Aguero. Now, Luis Suarez, definitely one of the best strikers in Premier League history for Liverpool. I don't know how they replaced him like so easily, but they did. They found a way. I never would have thought that the hole that Suarez left would ever be replaced. And then I've also got Sergio Aguero, who won Manchester City's title. I don't need to talk about that. I'm sure I'll trigger a lot of people, but Aguero, he's still at the best of his best football right now, still banging in goals pretty much every time he plays, whether he's starting on the field or coming off the bench. He's just an awesome player. But guys, that wraps up today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. I'm sorry that this video has gone for a little bit longer than expected, but I had to go into a little bit of detail of why I've put some players in there. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys would definitely put in your teams. I'm sure there'd be some players in there that you wouldn't have and that you would. But once again, if you have enjoyed, please give it a like, please subscribe, and I shall see you legends on the next video. Peace out.